रामचंद्र भगवान की जय. Let us invoke the presence of Sri Hanuman. आइए हनुमंत विराजिए, कथा कहूँ मति अनुसार. प्रेम सहित गदी धरो, पधारिए पवन कुमार. सियावर रामचंद्र की जय. शरणम शंकर हरि ओम. Come Hanuman, I am about to recite Sri Ram's Katha as far as my knowledge permits. Please be seated within the lotus of our hearts, energize our body, and give us the wisdom and intelligence, O Sri Hanuman, to expound the wonderful words of Prabhu Sri Ram. Principal Pawan Putra Hanuman ki jai. We continue in Balkand, and to summarize what took place last week, we saw where Sati was in great confusion because Lord Shankara had paid obeisance to Sri Ram, whom she looked upon as an ordinary prince because of the fact of the way that he responded when Mata Janaki was abducted. And based on that response, she could not believe that he was that Sri Ram who all spoke about, who the great saints and sages spoke about. And perhaps she was given the same kind of thoughts that we, the ordinary people, give. So, what caused that confusion? First, she saw Shiva made obeisance to this Sri Ram, as though he is the supreme God. If Lord Shiva is making that obeisance, then he has to be a very special person. Secondly, when he made that obeisance to Sri Ram, there was an upsurge of energy, something uncontrollable ecstasy in the heart of Lord Shankara. And she recognized that. That added to the confusion. And she's asking now, can that Supreme Lord Sri Ram, whom the Vedas can't even fully explain, does he take bodily form? And then she said, if he does take form as that Mahavishnu, can he wander in search of his wife as an ignorant man? No, because he was sort of crying, asking the trees, the vines, the birds, have you seen my Sita? So this caused a bit of confusion in her mind. Then she's thinking now, the words of Shiva cannot be untrue. Whatever he pronounces has to be the truth. So yet again, she in this greater doubt in her mind. And then he said to her, he said, that Sri Ram, whom we were singing about, is my Ishtadev. Now everybody has an Ishtadev. That is one of the gods that you favor most. You know. So he said, he is my chosen deity, my Ishtadev. And he has incarnated as the jewel of the house of the Raghus. He is the Raghukula Mani. Mani is a gem. Raghukul refers to that lineage from which Sri Ram has come. He is a gem of that race. And he has come for the protection of his devotees. And I want to continue from that point. Tusidas sings in Chaupai. Hare Mana Sati Sat Dev तुम्हारे मन अति संदेहु तो के न जाई परीक्षा देहु. So, having explained to her about this Sri Ram, she still has some doubts in her mind. And whenever there is doubt, then you try to see whatever way you can remove those doubts by questioning, by trying to see what you can do. So Lord Shankara, realizing that this is the mind of Prabhu Sri Ram, and perhaps it's a good thing, because by she investigating this particular situation was able to enlighten the world. And perhaps that was the reason why it was played out like that, so that she can educate the world via doubt. So Tulsidas says, "Jo tumhare man ati sandeha to ke na jai paricha lehu." He says, if you have this great doubt, if this great doubt resides in your mind, O Sati, then why not go and put the matter to test? That is how you know, right? He says, if this great doubt occupies your mind, you are not sure, then go and put it to the test. So, tabalagi baita ahaw, but the chahi, jabalagi tumhe ehahu muhi pahi. So, he tells her, he says, look, you go. I shall be waiting under this banyan tree. Under the shade of this banyan tree, I shall remain until you come back. Go, I give you that privilege. So, what does Parvati do? Tulsidas tells us. He gives a bit of advice. This is what he says. जैसे जाई मोह प्रभु भारी करहु सो जतनु विवेक विचारी. He says two important words here: vivek. Use your critical judgment. Vichari. Think deeply of it. So, using your critical judgment, he says you should evolve, create some mechanism, some device by which you can be able to rid yourself of this ignorance, this error. Devise some way within you. Think, what kind of strategy can I use to get rid of this doubt in mind and to fully convince myself that he is indeed what Lord Shankara is saying. Chali sati siva aya supai karahi vicharu karau ka bhai. Tulsidas is saying, in this way, Sati left and she proceeded to that mission. What is that mission? To test who this Sri Ram is. And she considered the step that she would take in order to test the divinity of Sri Rama. She's thinking while she's going, what kind of strategy must I employ such that I'll be able to remove this overwhelming doubt that resides with my heart. See, she just can't go. She has to have a plug. If you're going to investigate something, you must have certain things in mind that you're going to do. And she is contemplating in the mind. What strategies can I use in order that I may be able to put this situation to rest and get my doubts cleared? So in short, I do see those things. Now, as he's talking to her, he is also coming to a certain conclusion in his mind, because he has given her all that she's supposed to know. Yet still that doubt remains. So, Tulsidas tells us. Daksha refers to Parvati, the daughter of Daksha. So he says, in the meanwhile, Shiva came to this conclusion. What conclusion? That mischief was in store for Daksha's daughter. Some kind of thing. Whatever she's going to employ to find out is some kind of mischief you have to do in order to clear her mind. So he said, Daksha Sutaka Nahi Kalyana. Right? And some kind of mischief is in the making. So he said, More hukahena sansaya jahi vidhi viparit bhalai nahi. He says, when her doubt is not dispelled, even by my assurance. Now anybody listening to Lord Shiva would take his word as gold. You know that, right? But she, in spite of what he says, he said, if she has not taken my word as any form of assurance, he said to himself, it seems that the stars are adverse and no good will come out of it. The signs are not good, in other words. When he says stars are good, the signs are no good, and I don't think any good will come out of this. He can foresee this, He's Antarjami, he's the indweller of all hearts. He knows what she's thinking. He knows what plans she will take to. That is power he has. And he says, if I gave that assurance and still didn't meet her requirements and those will clear her doubt, then something ain't right. So I have this last chaupai and do her just to finish this morning's contribution. So Tulsidas tells us. कोई ही सोई जो राम रचि राखा को करी तर्क बधाई साखा. So he says, Lord Shiva said, after all, whatever Sri Ram ordained must come to pass. It is all the play of Prabhu Sri Ram, and this is the way of teaching the world. Because when she expressed that doubt, whatever test she did, it makes things clearer for us. It is because of the test that she has done and what was the result. That is how we learn. So that was geared not for Parvati. She is the mother of the world. She knows everything. But this is the Leela. And how best can you demonstrate or illustrate something rather than by play? When a play is in motion, you get everything. Nobody has the right to tell you anything. Based on what is happening, you are able to imbibe everything and understand the purpose of the play. So this is that stage, in the world stage, she's making that play. So he says, whatever Sri Ram has determined, that will have nothing else. So he says, Ko kari tarka bidhai sakha. Why should one spin out any longer on this discussion? There is no point. This is the way it was destined to be, and there is no point in laboring. So he says, Asaka hi lage japan harinama gai sati jaha prabhu sukhadama. Sukhadama means that home of happiness, this blissful home. So, having said that, Shiva began to repeat Hari's name, Ram to jape Sri Rama's name. So he is under this tree, japing the name of Sri Ram, and Sati has gone to test Sri Ram. So while he's doing that, she proceeded to the spot where this all blissful Prabhu Sri Ram was. And I bring my lesson to end this morning in this Doha Tulsidas sings. हृदय विचार करी कर सीता कर रूप रामा कर सीता कर रूप आगे होई चल पंचत ही नहीं आवत नरसिया पति राम जात दिग्विजय He said mischief wasn't making, this is the mischief. And this was a terrible blow for Sita. It didn't work on her behalf. But for the world, as I said, this is a demonstration of our own doubts and so on. So, Puni Puni Hridaya Vichare Kari. Again and again, he's thinking, Puni Puni Hridaya Vichare Kari. After many an anxious thought, Sati assumed, Dhari Sita Kararup. Sita Kararup means the form of Sita. Now, Sri Ram was looking for Sita. Remember, both of them were going through the forest looking for Sita. So she's thinking now, this is the thought that came to my mind. If I were to take that root, that form of Sita, if he recognizes me, then I know he's supreme. If he does that and he takes me for Sita, then I know he is a failure. You understand? So based on what is happening, she used that. When we go to investigate something, based on certain ideas that you had prior, or what you see concerning that particular situation, you use that. You understand? So she's using this weapon, so to speak. So she took that form of Sita. Aage hoi chali panta tahi jehi awat narabhu. And she, having taken that form, they must see her, right? So she began to repeat Hari's name. Sorry, that's wrong. After this anxious moment and taking the form of Sita, she moved ahead in that direction where she could be spotted, where they were walking. She moved ahead in that direction and where Sri Ram was. As he was coming, she's walking towards that place. So Sri Ram will see her. What happened when Sri Ram saw her? What happened when both Lakshman and Ram saw her? We will learn of that next week. So come back next week.
That's a little trick that when we didn't have TV and whatnot and radio and thing, the guys will tell us stories, right? And they come to the climax, they say, oh, you gotta come back tomorrow night or next night to listen to the rest of the story. Because you get so caught up with it. You gotta come back again. And again.
And this is the interesting part. Very interesting next week.
Yes.
Just emphasize another thing.